The Tiger tank was a German heavy tank that began operational duty in 1942 both in Africa and in the Soviet Union, in Schwere Panzerabteilungen or independent heavy tank battalions. The Tiger tank was considered a breakthrough weapon. The heavy tanks were intended to penetrate the enemy's defenses and thus enable the German units to advance. To do this, the Tiger battalions were temporarily assigned to large units, usually an army corps, and placed under a panzer division. The disadvantage of this short-term subordination was that the higher-level units had little understanding of the high repair requirements of the Tiger tanks. The first major deployment took place during the Battle of Kursk, where the participating heavy tank battalions were deployed in a tactically unfavorable manner. For example, the Schwere Panzerabteilung 503 had to hand over its 3 companies to 3 different panzer divisions. Even later in the war, the units could hardly be used in a concentrated manner. Due to the changed conditions, the heavy tank battalions had to be used more and more in defense. They achieved the best results when they were held back as a mobile reserve and brought to counterattack when the enemy broke through. In December of 1942, the German Army High Command set up a special unit, the Panzerersatzabteilung or Armored Replacement Battalion 500 in Paderborn to provide personnel for the new heavy tank battalions. The recruits consisted of experienced volunteers of the Panzerwaffe. The German heavy tank battalions destroyed a total of 9,850 enemy tanks during the war. Approximately 1,300 enemy tanks were destroyed by the top 10 German Tiger ACES. Number 10. Karl Wilhelm Canout. Captain Canout was an officer of the Schwere Panzerabteilung 505. He destroyed more than 101 tanks. He led the 3rd company of the battalion when he died in April of 1945. Canout was a highly decorated tank commander, and he was also a recipient of the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross. Number 9. Hinrich Gartner. Gartner was a tank commander in the 3rd Company of the 503rd Heavy Tank Battalion. Gartner received the Knight's Cross on the 20th of June 1944 for the destruction of 103 enemy tanks. He died in January of 1945. Number 8. Hinrich Rondorf. Rondorf served as a platoon commander in the 3rd Company of the 503rd Heavy Tank Battalion. He destroyed 106 enemy tanks. He finished the war as a platoon commander of the 1st Company of the 512th Heavy Tank Destroyer Battalion, which was equipped with Jagdtigers. Number 7. Albert Kerscher. Kerscher served in the 502nd Heavy Tank Battalion. By the end of the war, he had destroyed 107 enemy tanks over the course of 97 armored engagements. According to some sources, Kerscher was awarded or recommended to the Knight's Cross with oak leaves on the 20th of April 1945, but no primary sources have confirmed that information. After the Second World War, he served with the Bundeswehr from 1956 until 1969. Number 6. Paul Agar. Agar had a very strange career. He worked as a clerk when he volunteered to join the Luftwaffe in 1938. Agar started World War II as a bomber pilot, then he was transferred to the Jagdgeschwader 27 as a fighter pilot, flying the Messerschmitt Bf 109, and took part in the Battle of Britain. Altogether, he flew 112 missions and was shot down 3 times, but he did not become a fighter ace. In May of 1941, he volunteered to join the Waffen-SS and was trained as a gunner. Later, he was transferred to the 2nd SS Panzer Regiment of the Das Reich Division. In October of 1943, Agar was transferred to command a Tiger tank platoon. Until the end of the war, Agar recorded 113 tanks destroyed. He escaped from Berlin and managed to evade the surrounding Soviet forces, but was forced to surrender to the advancing United States Army at the River Elbe after being shot in the arm, which was his 9th wound of the war. He was released in 1947. In the civilian life, he became a sports reporter and died in 2007. Number 5. Wihelm Vitman. Vitman joined the SS at the age of 22, and he started his training with the elite Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler. From 1939 onwards, Vitman took part in various campaigns throughout Europe. He took part in Operation Citadel and also fought in the Ukraine in the winter of 1943. Vitman was transferred to Belgium in February of 1944 and sent to Normandy after D-Day. Although the number is disputed, but he is credited with destroying 135 to 138 enemy tanks. He is known for his ambush of elements of the British 7th Armored Division on the 13th of June 1944. Vitman destroyed up to 14 tanks and 2 anti-tank guns within 15 minutes before the loss of his own tank. The Nazi propaganda machinery created the legend of Wihelm Vitman, and even to this day, many people still view his achievements as legendary. In some publications, Wihelm Vitman is portrayed as the Second World War's most successful tank commander, but this statement is not true. Today, Vitman's grave is visited by many history fans as well as far-right extremist admirers. Number 4. Johannes Bter. Captain Bter was a platoon commander of the 1st Company of the 502nd Heavy Tank Battalion. He destroyed 139 tanks during World War II, but some sources place his score as high as 144. Bter was wounded 7 times during the war and is considered to have been one of the most successful tank commanders in military history. He was a recipient of the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross with oak leaves. Number 3. Oto Carus. Carus enlisted in the army and was only accepted after twice being rejected as unfit for military service for being underweight. He first served in the infantry before volunteering for the Panzertruppen. Carus was transferred to the 502nd Heavy Tank Battalion in 1943 and fought in the northern sector of the Eastern Front. At the beginning of 1945, he was made commander of a Jagdtiger company which was engaged in fighting on the Western Front. Carus is credited with destroying more than 150 enemy tanks, although Carus in an interview claimed that he had around 100 kills or less. This was due to the fact that he did not count kills as a commander, only as a gunner. After the war, Carus set up a pharmacy which he named the Tiger Apotheke as a tribute to the Tiger tank. He ran his pharmacy until retiring in 2011. He died in 2015 at the age of 92. Number 2. Martin Schroif. SS Untersturmführer Schroif was a Tiger tank commander in the 2nd Company of the 102nd Heavy Tank Battalion of the Waffen-SS. He was a tank ace with at least 161 tank kills, but unlike other officers, very little information is available about him. This is why some historians believe that he may have just overclaimed his kills during the war. And number 1, Kurt Knispel. Knispel was a non-commissioned officer and the most successful German gunner and tank commander in World War II. Knispel was credited with a total of 168 enemy tank kills, of which 126 were as a gunner and 42 as a commander. Another 30 kills are unconfirmed. In 1940, he was drafted into a Panzer replacement and training division, and he was trained on the Panzer I tank. His instructors noticed that Knispel could estimate distances very fast and accurately. As a member of a Panzer IV crew, Knispel took part in the Russian campaign with the 12th Panzer Division from June of 1941. From April of 1943, he was assigned to the 1st Company of the Heavy Tank Battalion 503. He was awarded the Iron Cross 3rd class for the destruction of 27 enemy tanks during Operation Citadel. From June of 1944, Knispel was deployed on the Western Front against the Allies who had landed in Normandy. Later, the 503rd Heavy Tank Battalion was relocated to Hungary in early October of 1944. He died just a few days before the end of the war. Despite his performance, Knispel did not receive the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross during the war. There are several reasons for that. He was a Sudeten German, a Czech by birth. Vitman, being more photogenic and serving in the Leibstandarte, was a perfect Nazi propaganda material. The other reason was that Knispel hated the Nazis and got into trouble countless times. He also supposedly punched an SS officer in the face when he saw him mistreating a POW. No actions were taken against him for that, probably because he was such a great tank commander. He never made it past the rank of Feldwebel or sergeant because of his behavior. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you, and see you in the next video.